All right, we're on 7.5. We're going to solve rational equations. And so our essential question is, how can we solve those rational equations? So this is the first video, and we're going to start off by solving them by cross multiplying. Now, I really don't like that term, but that is what we're doing essentially. Sorry, I got some on there. All right, so let's give this a try. And we are going to solve these equations by cross multiplying, and it is always important to check our answers. Because we have variables in our denominators, we cannot have a denominator of 0. So that checking our solution is really important. Okay, so what cross multiplying means is to get this out of the denominator, I multiply both sides by it, so it leaves this denominator and shows up over here. So if you look, it's multiplying these two things together, okay? So I end up with a 3 times a 4x plus 5 equals, and then we do the same thing with this one. If we multiply both sides, it leaves this side and ends up multiplying the 9. So I have 9 times x plus 1. Okay, that's what that cross multiplying is. So really what we're doing is we're finding a common denominator by, the common denominator is these two things multiplied together. And really I'll show what that means in the second video, but when we have more ratios on each side. So when we only have one fraction equaling another fraction, you can just cross multiply, which again, like I said, I don't like that term because it's not like an official reasoning thing, but that is essentially what we do. So, all right, I need to simplify both sides, so I'm going to distribute the 3. I get 12x plus 15. And on the right side, I need to distribute the 9. So I get 9x plus 9. All right, let's move x's to one side. So I'm going to subtract the 9x. So I get 3x plus 15 equals 9. Let's get this constant to the other side so we can solve for x. So I get 3x equals negative 6. To get x by itself, we divide by 3. So we get x equals a negative 2. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. All right, let's look. If I were to plug that in, check our solutions means plugging it in and none of our denominators are 0. So negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, so we're good, that's not 0. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, plus 3 is negative 3. So none of our denominators end up being 0, so this is our true answer. Okay, so let's try cross multiplying again. I'm going to take this numerator times the denominator on the other side. So I get x times x equals the numerator on the other side times the denominator. Okay, and I'm going to leave that negative with it, so I get a negative 4 times the denominator on the other side, which is an x plus 1. So it makes an x. That's what you're multiplying together. Okay? And if we simplify this out, we get x times x is x squared equals, distribute that negative 4, so negative 4x minus 4. And we see now I'm going to have a quadratic because I have an x squared. So I'm going to move everything to the side where that x squared is. And I'm going to do that by adding 4x and adding 4 to both sides. So I get x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. And I can factor this. This is the same thing as saying x plus 2 squared. X plus 2 times x plus 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay? So when I solve this, because it equals 0, I get that x equals negative 2. Same thing as this one did. Okay? And I check. If I plug in a negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. And on this side, it would be a negative 2 in the denominator. So nothing was dividing by 0. So that is our answer. All right, let's try it for 3 and 4. Okay? So when I cross multiply, this time I get an x plus 1 times an x minus 6. Then I equal, and we go this way. And I get an x plus 2 times an x minus 3. Okay, so at this point, if you need to do your boxes to be able to multiply them, go ahead. but I'm going to go ahead and just multiply them. I get x squared. I get a negative 6x and a positive x. That makes a negative 5x. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. All right. So I have x times x is x squared. And I have a 2x and a negative 3x makes a negative x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. All right, so I have a quadratic on each side, but as I can see, they're both just x squared. So when I subtract x squared from each side, those are 0. So I get a negative 5x minus 6 equals negative x minus 6. All right, let's go ahead and move x's to one side. So I'm going to add x. So I get negative 4x minus 6 equals negative 6. So we need to add this 6 to both sides. I get negative 4x equals 0. Still want x by itself, so I have to divide by the negative 4. And 0 divided by negative 4 is 0. Okay? So let's check. If I were to plug in 0 for x, does my denominator become 0? So 0 minus 3 is negative 3, so that one didn't become 0. And I have 0 minus 6 makes negative 6, so that didn't become 0. So that is my solution. All right, number 4. I keep changing my colors because it's fun. Okay. I'm going to take the top times the bottom. Now, I leave the negative with that top number. I just do that to make sure I include it in something. You don't want to include it in both. Only one of those is negative, okay? So I include it with the negative 2. So I end up with negative 2 times an x plus 21 equals, and I have an x plus 9 times an x minus 3. Okay? On the left side, we need to distribute the negative 2. So I get negative 2x minus 42 equals, and multiply out. Again, if you need to use the 2 by 2 box, do that. But I get x times x is x squared. Then I have a 9x and a negative 3x adds up to a 6x. And 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. All right, I only have one x squared, so I do end up with a quadratic. So I'm going to move everything to that side where my x squared stays positive. So I'm going to add 2x and add 42. So I get 0 equals x squared plus 8x minus, oh, nope, it'd be plus, sorry, whoop, plus 15. Okay? And we want to factor this. Okay, so I'm going to have an x in both of these. Now, they multiply to a positive, which means both symbols have to be the same, but they add to a positive. So I know these are just both pluses. Okay? So what multiplies to 15 and adds up to 8 would be a 3 and a 5. Okay? So I get x equals a negative 3 and a negative 5, because each of those has to equal 0 by that 0 product property. Okay? X plus 3 equals 0, so it's opposite sign. Okay? Let's see if both of these work. All right. So if I plug in, I'm just going to do the negative 3 first. Negative 3 minus 3 is negative 6. So that did not become 0. We're good so far. Negative 3 plus 21 is 18. So negative 3 totally works. It didn't make either denominator a 0. Negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8. Negative 5 plus 21 is 16. So neither one of those made our denominator 0. So those do stay our solutions. All right, so now I want you to go to your practice and do problems 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8 and move on to video number 2.